Hey guys, this is Brian behind the camera.
And Alexandra.
What episode are we on?
We're on number, I can't do it with that hand, that finger, 9. This finger doesn't go down for some reason.
That seems like a whole nother episode.
It just doesn't work.
We've only got 10 minutes, so we're going to need to go to a different subject. Episode number 9. What do we want to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about our move and meditation.
Awesome. I think I need to talk first, don't I?
Yeah, I think so.
So, today we moved. We've got a storage facility. How are we doing?
Good.
We have a storage facility just down the street here, and they're very kind, and they allow you to borrow their moving truck. So we drive a Prius, and the Prius is very low when you drive, and this moving truck is very high. So I'm driving this truck down a street I've driven down dozens and dozens of times, perhaps hundreds of times. Never once did I worry about trees that kind of come into your lane. But today I'm driving down this road with this wonderful moving truck, and I hit the tree. I literally drove straight into the tree. There could have been like an America's Funniest Home Videos moment. Ripped the whole top of the thing off. As it was, it just kind of punctured the upper right-hand corner of the moving truck. But what was really cool was I was sitting there, and I've been kind of working on, through my meditation practice and through all the stuff I study and do, getting really clear on what I have control over and what I don't have control over, right? And you know, Epictetus, a classic Stoic philosopher, he says you can't worry about things that are outside of your control. That's basically like rule number 1 of Stoic philosophy. It's rule number 1 of any healthy philosophy. It's principle number 1, optimism and optimal living 101. So anyway, I've got kind of this like gauge that allows me to kind of decipher really quickly, can I control this or not? If I have no control over what's happening or what just happened, then I've been practicing not getting stressed about it. Anyway, this was really cool because I hit the tree. I'm going like 25 miles an hour, and it's like this terrible boom, right? And like really kind of a little startling, right? And I immediately realized I must have hit the tree, a tree, and it was like my consciousness just immediately went to the equation of I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to be stressed about it. It's almost funny. And it was really cool to actually see that happen. And it reminds me of a T. Harv Eker lesson that I share, where he talks about you versus the size of your problems. And I talk about this a lot in my work. He says, if you're a size 2 problem and you have a size 2 person, right, out of 10, and you have a size 1 or a size 2 problem, you're going to be kind of stressed. If you have a size 3 problem, you're going to be more stressed. If you have a size 6 or 7 problem and you're a size 2 person, you're going to be super stressed, right? Well, hitting a tree when you're driving a moving truck is probably in the overall picture of life like a size 2 problem, right? Size 3 maybe. It's a little bit worse than stubbing your toe. It's not anywhere near as bad as, you know, dying, if you want to look at death as bad, or having a loved one, you know, go away and stuff like that. It's like a size 1.5, 2, 3 maybe, right? Someone cutting you off on the freeway would be like a size half. If you get stressed out when someone cuts you off on the freeway, you're basically being a size 0.25 person in that moment, if you get all road ragey. Anyway, I was pretty stoked to see I'm at least like a size 3 or 4 person. This is awesome. I didn't get stressed about it. But that leads us to this whole idea of our meditation practice and just focusing on expanding our consciousness so that we have more control. We can bring our minds to the point we want to bring it to, which is what meditation really is. It's kind of like working out for your consciousness, right? You go to the gym to work out your, you know, cardiovascular system, your strength system, and your flexibility at yoga, etc. Meditation is really working out your consciousness so that when things like this happen, you can see it and not react. You can choose the most empowering response. So that's a long-winded explanation of me and my driving skills and how it relates to our meditation practice and some other stuff we're doing. I'm going to take a breath. What do you think about that, darling?
Well, I just have to say, when Brian came home, he was totally amazing, and he's like, I hit a tree, and then was like, okay, now it needs to get done. We need to pack the car, or pack the truck. So it's just amazing we just don't get triggered by stuff as much as we used to. You know, you can almost feel the trigger, and then you have that conscious choice point of either I'm going to dive into the drama or I'm not. So yeah, we're just getting better at that. I'm really excited about it, and it's really cool to feel you can almost feel the pull to the drama, like, oh, wanting to be a victim in it, or make some story about it and just coming back to being a creator and saying, you know what, there's zero drama here. Let's just do what needs to get done and have fun.
What do you think is the way, what have we been doing that's helped us? What can people do to kind of help develop that perspective?
I think it's a daily practice and consistency. We've been doing it for 2 years. Next week will be 2 years we haven't gone a day without meditation. So I think it's that daily practice of doing it every day.
And then also it's also the moment to moment, right? So we notice, I'll take it for a second. So Eckhart Tolle in his either Power of Now or New Earth or both, he talks about your pain body, right? Anytime you find yourself getting pissy or you find yourself getting anxious or critical or you want to blame or kind of getting antsy or whatever, notice it when it arises. That's your pain body arising. Pema Chodron talks about it. She says, anytime you find yourself getting off center, right, and you find yourself getting any of those emotions, notice it and stop it immediately. Don't allow it to grow. Don't allow it to grow. So we've been practicing that. When we see ourselves getting irritated, we can notice it, and then we can move into a more empowering perspective. Notice it, move into an empowering perspective. And then when something a little bit more weird or out of the blue happens, like hitting a tree while driving a moving truck, hello, then you're more prepared. It's like you've built the muscle, right? You're literally, your consciousness is stronger because you've been going to the gym and you've been working it out. So when you have a little heavier weight to lift, and something dramatic happens, like you lose a job, which is much more traumatic than hitting a tree when you're driving a moving car, or you lose a loved one, or you get a diagnosis of an illness, or whatever it is that's a much bigger challenge, you've done the work on the little stuff, right? And you're more strong. Literally, you have a deeper conditioning, and you only get that through moment-to-moment showing up. You don't need to meditate. I think meditation is a huge practice. Highly recommend it. And it's hard to say you don't need to do it, because you don't need to, but I'd highly recommend it. But it's just the moment-to-moment, noticing when your children might be upsetting you. Will notice that right when you find it coming, and just pull back and see if you can choose a better response. At work, someone's irritating you. Notice it right when it arises. It can be a really fun practice. And then the diligence, patience, persistence, and playfulness. And it's cool when things like what's happening to me today come up in our lives, and we're like, whoa, I'm a better person. I wouldn't have handled that situation like this a year ago, or 2 years ago, definitely not 10 years ago. So that's a little bit more. What else, darling?
So, yeah, I like that moment to moment. And then I also think there is just being mindful of your breath. Because breath is an amazing way of gauging where you are emotionally. If you're angry or frustrated or tense, you're going to have shallow breathing. So you cannot be angry and deep breathe. Like, it's almost impossible. There's a certain breath pattern that goes with anger. There's a certain energy in your body that you need to have in order to have anger flowing through your body. So just being conscious of, wow, I'm totally triggered. Wow, I'm holding my breath. My shoulders are tight. My belly's tight. Just really checking in with what's going on with your breath. And then if you feel that, breathe into it, relax.
I like that, and that makes me think, so we've got a couple minutes left, a minute and a half, say. So the other thing, when you breathe deeply, when you meditate, what you're doing is you're taking yourself out of a beta state, which is where anger and anxiety and all this fear lives. All the automatic negative thoughts, some little gremlins, I call them, play around in beta, really high frequency, really shallow amplitude. When you go into a meditative state, even when you just take a few deep breaths, you slow your brain waves down from this to this, right? So our breath is tied to our consciousness. So when we more consistently live from a mellow beta and we go consistently into alpha, we can go there more readily. And when I was driving, I was pretty mellow, right? And then when it happened, I'm like, oh, boom, okay, go back to mellow. And it's a grooved pattern. I know how to go back to that, which again comes from the consistent meditative practice and the moment-to-moment, noticing when our irritation is arising. But with that, we've got to go, because we've got our afternoon meditation. We do a combination of holosync and transcendental meditation. We'll talk about this in more detail. Our 2-year anniversary is coming up next week. We're going to dedicate an entire episode to meditation on August 5th, I think. But right now we got a 15-minute holosync mixed with transcendental meditation, mantra meditation that we're going to go rock, and excited about it. Anything else you want to share? My love?
I think that's it. Have an awesome day.